We need to be more considerate while wearing our masks. I don't mean this in the way that you're probably thinking. I mean, we need to be more mindful of our communication while we're wearing our masks. The deaf community might be relatively small, but many people are hard of hearing in at least one ear or partially deaf. Many people didn't realize how much they read lips until we all started wearing masks. We can also take steps to help us listen better if we're having difficulty understanding someone. There are some individuals that look at lips or noses in order to identify who they're talking to as well. Instead of looking at someone's eyes when they're talking to them, they look at their nose or their mouth, and that's how they learn faces, is by nose and mouth. I have some hearing loss in my left ear. I thought I only read lips occasionally, but apparently I really rely on lip reading. I decided to wear my mask for this whole video to see if it makes it any more difficult to understand me, and it could end up just acting as a windshield between me and the microphone. I don't know. Luckily, with the help of technology, you could just replay a word or turn up the volume if it's difficult to understand me with the mask on. We don't really have this luxury in a face-to-face interaction. In May of this year, Megan Hollahan from Today shared a story of a deaf man who's having to navigate the world with everyone wearing masks now. He described having to mentally prepare himself before he left his house because communication was going to be even more stressful than it already is for him. In a case of communicating with someone who's completely deaf, we would most likely need to rely on our technology to communicate now that he can't see our lips to try to understand some of our words. Typing a message on your phone would probably be the easiest way to communicate with someone who's totally deaf. In the case of the hard of hearing, we need to remember to enunciate. In May of 2020, Patricia Johnson, an audiologist with UNC, explained that the higher frequency sounds can be muffled by our masks. Certain consonants like F and S become kind of fuzzy. Also, SH and TH can sound very similar to each other when they're said through a mask. We should be mindful of what words seem to come out kind of muffled when someone's speaking to us or when we're speaking to them to know which words we need to really focus on. Just making the effort to speak a little more clearly can make someone's day easier and save you from needing to repeat yourself. As listeners, there are also ways we can help ourselves when trying to listen to someone with a mask on. A speech language pathologist reported in June of this year to Ozark First that we can look at facial movements to try and guess at certain words. Although the mouth and the nose are covered, the movement of the jaw itself and the eyes can tell us a lot, which brings up another concern. When we're outside walking around and it's sunny and we're wearing sunglasses, we just took away another facial feature that we could normally use for communication. Now you can't see my nose, you can't see my mouth, you can't see if I'm smiling, you can't see around my eyes. You're losing a lot of information we use to communicate by wearing sunglasses. So if someone comes up to you and is trying to talk to you and you're wearing glasses and a mask, you might consider taking them off just to make it a little bit easier to communicate. Gabby Leno, a career coach with Korn Ferry Advance, suggested back in July of this year that we should look at other forms of nonverbal communication. Hand gestures, such as pointing, pointing over there, pointing at something we want can help. Changing our pitch when we're speaking to try to draw attention to certain words. And our posture can help us gather information, and we can use a combination of all of our nonverbal communication techniques to try to enhance our communication. Last topic I'd like to touch on is regarding those who have difficulty communicating already or who don't like to make eye contact. I recently spoke with an individual who has been struggling to remember who people are because they don't make eye contact. They usually look at mouths and noses to identify people. There are other individuals who may be shy or mentally impaired that need extra assistance during this time. I encourage you to try and be positive and helpful with everyone when trying to communicate with these mask mandates in place. You never know what they could be struggling with, whether they're shy or hard of hearing or deaf or just have trouble communicating already. And we could be making their day just a little bit easier and a little bit better by reaching out to them and trying to be the ones to make their life easier. Thank you.